Alright, so we're doing the NA predictions since it's coming up on Friday, and then, carrying over until Sunday, of course. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Gen G, they had a great qualifier, going 3-0. NRG did not have a great qualifier, going 3-2. When I say qualifier, I mean Swiss. I should be referring to it as the Swiss, the top 32 Swiss. But our main event, top 16, NRG did not have a great qualifier, great Swiss. That being said, they have had a week's time to prepare for this event, so I imagine, they're gonna look much, much closer to what you'd expect of them. Genji, they did look very good, so I'm gonna give them a game 5, but it's hard to predict against Energy, once you get, to the important stages of the tournament. And this isn't the most important. Like, Genji could totally win this, and then maybe it isn't until, the playoffs that Energy really truly start locking in. But considering, they've had that week of preparation going into this event, I think it's more going to be that makes them play better rather than an on-the-day basis. Oh, they weren't playing well, that's why they lost to Genji. I kind of imagine that if NRG are in a good place, that they'll kind of win against Genji regardless. Not regardless of how well they're playing, but, almost. Um, but yeah. Anyways, next up, Strictly Business versus Space Station. An interesting one. Space Station is the roster from last season with all the rookies: Frosty, Scribbles, and Reveal. So they're decent, but they're going up against Strictly Business, who have Crispy, Exo, Simas. Crispy, we all know. I say we all know. A lot of people don't know actually. But he won the Shift Summer League in Europe with 100%. Exo, I'm not sure if he finished fifth in the second split. He might have finished like sixth or something. I'm not sure, but I know in the first split he finished one spot away from the major with Oxygen. And then Simas had been an upcoming player in Europe for a long time. Um, definitely a player that could have been top 8 in Europe this season as well. Maybe even more, considering 100%, made that run to top 4 this last weekend. Simas could have done something like that as well, most definitely. So yeah. Yeah, Strictly Business, I think is just a better team, right? Like they just have the better results. Space Station have done well, like they can win against Strictly Business. But yeah, I think they're not quite like a top NA team. Um, but they could still make top 8, of course. We'll see in a bit. Okay, Omelette Gas. Gas is the retired team of Garachi, AJ, and Squishy. But of course, they're still quality players, right? So they can kind of prolong their top 16 career, if you will. It's not really a career, but they can be in the top 16. I say it's not a career because they're technically retired, but yeah. You get what I'm trying to say. They're not fully serious. They're not gonna have much, longevity from now. Omelette, they went 3-0, so they had a really good qualifier. Omelette is the same roster as last season, I believe. They were under Cloud9 at some point as well, and they had a really good Swiss. So I'm gonna say they win that one. I'll give them a game. Why not? Or why not? And then Deleted XD, or Deleted Gaming rather, as they're called. And the Gyro Wavy, so that's big. Wavy is a huge player. He was a huge player last season as well for TSM. Against Wursland, Hazo, Jazzy, Psy, so that's two German-speaking players. I'm gonna give this one to Deleted, mainly because of Wavy, but Andy and Gyro had decent seasons last season as well. But yeah, considering Wavy was contending to make the majors last season, I expect he'll be on a team that could do that too. So if you are a team that could do that, you need to be able to beat Worstland. So I'm gonna predict that to happen. And then we'll do the rest of the upper bracket. NRG for Strictly Business. I'll continue with the same boat. 3-2 victory for NRG. Yeah, why not? Omelette versus Deleted. This one's actually quite tough. Looking at the results, Deleted XD, they won against NRG, lost against Genji. It's a good win. Not a terrible loss, but one you should take into account. Omelette, they beat everyone. They did beat everyone. So I gotta get this to Omelette. I gotta get this to Omelette. I think they are slightly better. Was Lion Blaze and Neil and who is it? Percy? Yeah, Percy. And they made a top 4 at some point last season too. So did Wavy, but yeah, I'm not sure Andy did. I don't think Andy ever did. But yeah. Anyways, NRG versus Omelette. I'm just gonna say 3-1 victory for NRG there. So yeah, Omelette, NRG going to top 8. And then Genji versus Space Station. Yeah, I'll say our Space Station could still make top 8, but they've been a bit unfortunate with this whole NRG performance in the Swiss. Like, cause I gotta give this to Genji, to be honest. They looked really, really good in the Swiss. So I'm sorry, like Genji are just, yeah, they're too good, or I expect them to be at least. And then Gas versus Worsland. Now this is an interesting one because it's kind of the battle of the two worst teams in this group, I imagine. So yeah, who's gonna make it? I mean, it's hard to vote against Garagy, AJ, and Squishy, and with the pressure, you know, that Sai, Jazzy, Hazel will have on them, knowing that they're playing against a retired team. I think the retired team will just about clinch a victory there because they just don't have any pressure. Whereas Worsland, you know, team that's in the same category as Gas, roughly, maybe they'll consider themselves as slight favorites just because they're not retired, and because of that, I think that'll be the difference, and Gas will take the victory there. Deleted versus Genji, again, gonna go with Genji here. Similar scenario. Genji, they made a major last year with Luminosity, and they ended off their season really well. So when you compare the whole season, you know, it's much better than Wavy's, much better than Andy's, much better than Gyro's, and it's not like any of them, except for Wavy, of course, really look like they might be a step ahead of their teammates. Wavy's one of those players that a lot of people have been, you know, very excited about. I haven't actually watched much of him, so I can't actually attest to that. Um, but I've heard great things. I've seen his 1v1 results, and I've seen some clips of him playing as well. So, and I've seen, you know, the results he's had with TSM. So, yeah, there you go. Strictly Business, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just gonna give this a 3-0. Strictly Business are a really, really good team. So, yeah, there we go. And then I'm going to actually give this a victory as well for Strictly Business, 3-2 against Genji. Genji are a really good team, but Strictly Business and Genji actually beat Strictly Business in the Swiss. But much like in EU, where 100% got swept by Synergy, I believe, you know, then it was suddenly the opposite way around in the actual main event, right? And then a 100% with the team that made top 4, even though they had lost to Synergy, who didn't even make top 8, right? In the end, in Europe last week. So, considering all those factors, I think this is very possible, and considering how much I rate the European players playing on this roster, I think this is actually the expected result. But we'll see, of course. Okay, in the other group, we got the Ultimates. This is Firstkiller, LJ, and Chronic going up against Tech, which is Evo, Calm, and Talk, of course, the new player. Very exciting player. I've been looking at his results, looking at his gameplay as well, and looks very impressive. I saw him play with JNAPS in a Canada state tournament, I believe it was. So yeah, although Tech can beat them, so I'm gonna give them a game. They didn't have a great Swiss, but you know, that roster looks very promising, and it's one that you can imagine will improve as well. The longer they play, I say the longer they play. At some point, you have that's not going to continue, right? But for the time being, considering, you know, we're just starting up the season, I imagine Tech, you know, will have better Swiss stages than that at some point during the season, rather than 3-2, right? So yeah, I expect Tech to always look like they could be, you know, the best of in North America. Even though maybe most of the time they probably won't. Anyways, Rebellion versus Pirates. I'm gonna give this one to Rebellion. I'll give this one a 3-1. Pirates is 5 up Creams in hockey, so it's actually the TSM roster plus 5 up from Pirates on a Boat last season to kind of avoid any confusion there. So they've basically replaced Wavy with 5 up, though I think that was actually Wavy leaving. I don't actually know that's true. But yes, correct me if I'm wrong, I guess. And then, yeah, Complexity, that's obviously the South American team we all know and love. Bull, CRR, and Diaz moved over to North America this season. They didn't have the greatest second split in South America last season, but I still expect that to be fairly good. Almost Nuts are not the most notable team. They have like Skippy, T. Carell, and someone else. Repeat. They did have a decent Swiss though. They had some decent wins in there, but I'm not sure they can get too far in the main event. So yeah, Anyways, 9 lives versus Team Evo. This is another European team, by the way. Team Evo speed relating with Argue, which I imagine is slightly worse than Strictly Business, but they could still be Strictly Business. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, this is still another really good team that could be contending for the majors, for the fourth major spot or something like that. But that maybe is a little bit of a stretch, as in like I don't expect it to happen, but it's still on the cards because there are a lot of teams that I think can contend for the third and fourth major spot. So yeah, there we go. And they were playing 9 lives. So it's basically last season's SSG except Kofir instead of LJ. So obviously that's a massive hit to them. That being said, you still have to look at their results from last season, and I expect that they'll be able to beat Evo, but it'll be a close series. It'll be close. And then Ultimates versus Rebellion. Let me move it a little bit more to the right. Actually, no, I can't. But that's fine, I guess. Ultimates versus Rebellion. I expect Ultimates to win that. Rebellion should give them a close battle. I'll give them a 3-2, but the Ultimates, they might look a little bit more convincing than that. But with Two Piece and Justin on the roster, Parth not far from them either. And I say that Justin was actually the one to make the big mistake last season that resulted in them not making the major in that last game against was it OG for the major tiebreaker or something like that, the second major. But yeah, I still expect them to be very, very good, and they'll be right up there. I think I feel like it's hard to imagine they won't be like top 6, 7 at the lowest in North America this season. So yeah, they'll give them a good battle. Complexity 9 lives. Oof, this is not an easy one. That being said, though, I feel like Diaz just has so much, potential that he could convert into threes that there's just no way that after all this time he's not going to come good. 0R, he's not been, peaking as he was not that long ago. But Ray's Bull has continued to do very well. Though again, maybe not being like the top of North America, not necessarily being like a player that you'd expect in the top 2 roster, but maybe he's still good enough to be on the top 3 or 4 roster, right? So yeah, I do rate the players, and I feel like they'll be on an upwards trajectory compared to last season. So yeah, I'm gonna say they win that. And then the Ultimates versus Complexity, I'm gonna come in and just do another 3-2. Why not? You know that when I see two teams that I rate, I like doing a lot of game 5s, game 7s. So don't mind the game scores too much. They don't really matter. All that matters is the team that I have winning the games, okay? And then moving on, Tech versus Pirates. I will give that one. Ooh, that's a tough one actually, because based on the Swiss, I feel like Pirates looked maybe a little bit better, but I think Tech, with the upward trajectory that I expected to have throughout the season, with that extra week of preparation, I'm gonna actually have them winning that one. Almost Nuts versus Evo. I'll try to be a little bit quicker because I know I've been running a bit long. I'll give them the 3-1 victory over Almost Nuts. 9 lives Tech. This is a tough one because this could go either way, but I'll give 9 lives the benefit of the doubt. Rebellion Evo, again, could be a close series. Gonna give Rebellion the win there, and then I'm gonna give the Rebellion the win in Game 5 over 9 lives in the lower bracket final 2. Upper bracket quarterfinals. Now, I'm going to say NRG versus Complexity. I'll give this a 4-2 for NRG. Ultimates versus Omelette, 4-1, let's say. I don't really know. But yeah, Ultimates NRG, I feel like they have to be the top 2 teams. This split, it's hard to see it not going like that. And then lower round 1, Strictly Business versus 9 lives. I've been very, very high on Strictly Business, and I'm gonna continue to be so as well. So, I'll come in with a 3-1 over 9 lives. Rebellion versus Genji. Genji are a really good team, and I think the correct prediction here would be to have Genji winning this. But that being said, Rebellion were better than Luminosity were at the end of the second split. No, they didn't have that great of an off season as Genji did, but Shinji also had some roster problems with, Cheese wanting to leave, then not leaving, and then Cheese, coming back, then playing FIFA E, which did not go well. That did go terribly, just not what you'd want. I don't know. I just think Rebellion will not 12, not 12. Will go into this a little bit better. I think they'll be slightly better in this event, but just like small margins. Complexity, strictly business. Oof, that's a tough one. I really have a lot of faith in this complexity roster, so I'm gonna say complexity win that in game 5. Eventually, I'm allowing EU to lose, guys. I'm not that crazy, okay? I say I'm not that crazy. I think it would actually still be reasonable because I do not feel that confident that complexity will be in the top 4. Although I do think it will happen. So yeah, that's my prediction there. And Omelette versus Rebellion. Omelette versus Rebellion. What do I have so far for Rebellion? Or Omelette are either beating, deleted, losing to NRG, and then losing to them again apparently. Not to them, they lose to Ultimates rather. Yeah, I've been doing the wrong things. This best of 7, not best of 5. My bad. I'll do game 7 there, why not? I'll do that there too. And I'll do game 6 here against Omelette. That's what I'm gonna do. For Rebellion. I got Rebellion in the top 4. They're back into the top 4. They ended off last season pretty well, and I think it'll carry over to this season as well. And then semi-finals, Ultimates versus Complexity. I'm gonna have the Ultimates. I'm gonna say 4-1, and then NRG. I'm gonna say 4-1-2. Why not? Yeah, just to show that I think these two will be the top 2, and quite clearly as well. And I'm actually gonna come in, and I'm gonna surprise everyone by saying I think the Ultimates will win this final. I don't know what it is. I just don't have that much faith in NRG to really get back to being the best in North America from last week, where they really didn't look that good, to be honest. I think NRG might individually, for each player, maybe not every player, but there might be a slight downgrade from last season. And yeah, I think they'll just be a bit complacent. Whether they regain in the rest of the split, I think it's very possible. Whether they maybe have a bad split and then regain in the second split, I expect that to happen. I think that's very likely. But this split, I think it's gonna definitely going to be, event by event, where you gotta look at them, see how they're progressing. But I think this first split could be a bit tricky for them. And in the first event, I'm gonna have Ultimates winning it, to be honest. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think NRG definitely has a higher peak than the Ultimates. I think that's fair. I think most people would agree with that, but I think they'll just have a slightly off event. So yeah, there we go. Those are my predictions. Let me know what you've got yourself. Let me know where I've went wrong. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.